Of course, there is always a desire to know the world, desire to know Namarupas, and endless Namarupas, one after the other, it goes on. So the Upanishad points out that the desire to know is what is to be known is not just the Aparavidya, the Paravidya. That Vidya which takes us towards Parabrahman. That is the Paravidya. So Upanishad is making that distinction between the two streams of knowledge. One is the Aparavidya, the Vidya about the Namarupa. And the Paravidya is the inquiry, is that knowledge which is to a desire to know the basis of all Namarupas. So what is the truth? What is the ultimate reality? So that is what the Paravidya is. So the Upanishad is talking about Paravidya. Each and every Upanishad is pointing towards the Parabrahman. And we were seeing the mantras. The Upanishad gave very beautiful illustration about the Srishti. So how did this entire Jagat come about? Yathornanabhisrajate grindhate cha. The example of spider is given. How the spider creates the entire web. What is the material for it? Itself. There is no apeksha. There is no dependency of any external things or external material. So the whole Srishti, the spider web in the example, the context of the example, is coming out of the spider itself. It is sustained by that spider, and then whenever it wants, it takes back the entire web also. So these examples, the three examples were given in the mantra. Let us see the mantra, the seventh mantra. Yathornanabhisrajate grinhate cha yatha prativyam oshadayaha sambhavanti yatha satah purushat keshalomani tathaksharat sambhavantiha vishwam. How does the entire Vishwa becomes manifest? How does the entire creation comes forth? So that is being spoken in the mantra. So the rishis of Mundakopanishad is giving three beautiful illustrations. One is what I said, the spider, how it creates the entire web out of itself. Yatha prativyam oshadayaha sambhavanti. How out of the earth, Prithvi, all the Sasya Rashi, the plants come forth. So Sanskrit, there's a beautiful name for plants. Oshadayaha, medicines. So plants are the primary source of food, and then food is a medicine. So the ancients very well knew it. That's why the designated nama or the designated name for plants in Sanskrit is Oshadayaha, medicines. How the plants come out of the earth, that is the second example. The third example, yatha satah purushat keshalomani. How from a person who's alive, hairs and nails grow from his body. That's how this entire Srishti came out of the Akshara Brahma, out of that Brahman, out of that reality. And what is that reality? Kim tat Brahma? That was also explained, the Lakshana. What is that Brahman then? What is that Parabrahma? Yattad adreshyam agrahyam agotram avarnam achakshushrotram tad apanipadam nityam vibhum sarvagatam So all these definitions were given in the previous mantra about the Brahman. What is that Brahma? So that which cannot be perceived by the sense organs, that which cannot be heard, that which does not have any limbs like the body, has hands, legs, head, different angas. So not like that. So does it belong to any particular group? Can I categorically say it is like this? No, it is not an object. It is not an object for us to put in some category. So then what is it? It is your own Swarupa. It is your own Swarupa. And then it is that which is the cause for the entire Jagat also. It is the cause. So Srishti Sthiti Laya Karana. That's why it is said Bhuta Yonihi in the previous mantra. So I am trying to understand that Brahman. And the Shastra says that Brahman is not some conceptual Brahman sitting somewhere. It is your own Swarupa. See, Shastra is interlinked, interconnected. It is not isolated. So, in order to study an Upanishad, one ought to have the entire vision of all the Upanishads, because this is not some isolated text. So it is not some isolated text. So in order to understand one Upanishad, you have to understand the mantra one by one. So unless you know the entire vision of all the Upanishads, you cannot know the meaning of each and every mantra particularly, individually. So how to solve this knot? How to come out of this catch? So that's why Sampradaya, that's why the Guru Shishya Parampara, that's why a need for a teacher, need for Acharya. That's what the students of Mundakopanishad have approached great Maharshis, great teachers like Angirasa. Great teachers have been approached so that this Vidya can be got. Because the Guru has the overall vision of the entire Upanishads, entire Shastra. That Guru also has the understanding of each and every Upanishad individually and each and every mantra individually, particularly, and in connection with the whole. Otherwise, the study of Upanishads could be quite confusing. That's why the need for the guidance of a teacher. So this Brahma, so that which is Adrishyam, Agrahyam, cannot be perceived through senses because it is not an object. So it does not have a location. It does not belong to any particular group. So it does not have any color, does not have any shape. So what is that Brahma? Can I ever appreciate it? So yes, Upanishad says elsewhere, Tattvamasi. That Brahman, do not think it is something which is sitting in the books or sitting somewhere else. It is your own Swarupa. So the inquiry into yourself is the inquiry into the Brahman. So inquiry in the Vyashti also gives the vision of Samashti. Or you start the inquiry of Samashti, then you have the understanding of the Vyashti, individual also. So that's how it works. Now, from the standpoint of the entire Srishti, there is a world of Nama Rupas that I'm visualizing, that I'm seeing. And everybody may wonder if at all you have that wonder. If you have lost that wonder, you just see only Nama Rupas. You will only see trees, you will only see cars, you will see roads, etc. But you will never have a question, who must have created it all? Is there a creator? How did this entire Nama Rupatmaka Jagat come forth? The Rishis wondered. So Rishis thought about it. And the Rishi of Mundakopanishad had this insight. That's why mantras are revelations. Mantras are the anubhavas of the rishis written down or passed through shlokas. So the rishi has given us 3 examples to appreciate the creation, to appreciate the creator. So in most of the major religious traditions, the creation and the creator are 2 separate entities. There is creation. You and I are the part of the creation, and there's a creator sitting somewhere else in the heaven. So that creator is to be worshipped, or that creator ought to be prayed, and then you finally reach the creator. Different systems have different approaches towards it. So what is the revelation of the rishi? You see, that revelation of the rishi is most obvious if we have the ability to appreciate and think a little subtly about the whole Srishti. That's why these subtle examples that the creator and creation are not 2 separate entities. Yathornanabihi srijate grinhate cha. Just as the spider weaves its entire web, that's how the creator, the Brahma, has manifested the entire Jagat out of itself. See, we don't have problem at all if we use Brahman out of itself, the creator out of himself, the creator out of herself. Whatever the gender pronouns doesn't matter, because that reality for us doesn't have gender at all. Agotram, avarnam, achakshuhu, apanipadam. So you see, anthropomorphic approach. So you see, the humans see themselves and will think that the creator must have also all the humanness there. It's okay, it serves a purpose in terms of an upasana, sometimes in the bhakti. But we are here analyzing things more fundamentally. So very more fundamentally. So we see, okay, humans have a particular name and form and gender. So God also must have a gender. The creator must also have gender. So the humans also wear a particular type of clothes, that God also must be wearing some clothes. In the human level, we will be having fights and arguments, hatred, jealousy. So we created some gods and then put them against each other. So many Puranic stories will portray as if 2 devatas are fighting this, that, etc. No, it serves a particular purpose in a story form, because the purport of the story is not the story itself. Some symbolic meaning, some values are being inculcated. So that's how we have to look at it. But here in Mundakopanishad, when we are fundamentally trying to understand reality, and Upanishad has very clearly said that reality doesn't have any gender, does not have any form, doesn't belong to any category. So that ultimate reality has manifested itself into this entire Jagat. So there is a deeper meaning that Vedanta, the Mundakopanishad, is trying to convey through three examples. So first example, the spider, Urnanabihi. So what is this example conveying? So the material and the intelligent cause are not in two separate places, and the creator is in one place, just as potter has pot making intelligence and he needs clay in order to make pot. So that clay is outside this potter. Is it like that? No. The material cause of the entire universe is the Brahman itself, is the Bhagavan or God itself. That consciousness, that reality doesn't have apeksha of any other material cause. That is one. That is what the first example is conveying. The first example is also conveying another very important tenet of Vedanta, that the effect is non-separate from the cause. So what is the cause for the entire spider web? The spider. So is the spider web separate from the spider? No, it is not. Look at the example from this direction. The web is created by the spider itself, and it is sustained by the spider, and it takes it back when it wants. So the effect and cause and effects are not two different entities. They are one and the same. Abhinna nimitta upadana karana. That is a technical word. So for those who are familiar a little bit with technical words of Vedanta. Then the second example, Yatha Prithivyam Oshadayah Sambhavanti. So you see that the effect. What is the effect? The plants are the effects. What is the cause? The cause is the Prithvi. The cause is the Prithvi. The effects are the plants. So effect, which is the plant, is just an appearance of the Prithvi. The same Prithvi, the same earth is temporarily appearing as something else. You analyze the plant. What is there in the plant? The Prithvi. Or Panchabhutas. Where is it coming out of? The Panchabhutas. So if you analyze a leaf or a plant, an entire plant, it is full of Prithvi. It is coming out of the Prithvi, and it is the effect. Temporarily, the same Prithvi, the same earth, temporarily is appearing as plants. So what is this human Sharira made up of? The human Sharira is also made up of the same Prithvi. So temporarily, it's not permanent form. So this effect, which is, but the Prithvi is appearing in this configuration. As long as the configuration is there, you think this is a solid entity, a very real entity, a very particularized entity. But more fundamentally, if you look at it, it is just an appearance. It is just an appearance of the Prithvi. Similarly, this entire Jagat you take is a temporary appearance of the Brahman. Brahman is appearing as the Jagat. Do not be so blinded, do not be so involved with the Jagat that you miss this very truth. You miss this very truth that the same Brahman is appearing as Nama Rupas, a phenomenon. What is a phenomenon? Phenomenon is that which begins somewhere and it is there, but then it goes away. Can you capture a phenomenon? Can you capture and put it in a box? No, you can't. Any phenomenon, sunset, can you put it in a box? No. Rain, no. Wind, clouds, human body, breathing, anything, no. It's all because the very definition of a phenomenon is that which is constantly changing. As even you are trying to define that phenomenon, it is changing. It is changing. You see, the science now is coming to accept that whatever we are defining, whatever we are trying to define in biology, physics, chemistry, so Planck's constant, Avogadro number, so a number for gravity, acceleration due to gravity, all of it has a particular number. But then now the quantum physics, everything is accepting that it's arbitrary. We cannot really fix it just as it. Under these conditions, this is the fixed value that we are giving. This is the fixed value which we are giving. Under all, if all these conditions are there, then this is the value. This is the particular number that we are fixing. So from the second example, which usually we just go on with this mantra of Mundakopanishad. So many times we don't deeply think about it, because here itself the entire teaching of the Upanishad is also present by just small 3 simple examples. That what? Yatha prativyam oshadayah sambhavanti. Just as sambhavanti, you see the very beautiful Sanskrit word is used. Sambhavanti. One translation is happens. It's a happening. It's not a permanent thing. It's an event. It's a happening. So the plants are there for some time. They grow. Some flowers blossom there. Fruit occurs. Some seeds occur. This, that, everything occurs. Then that entire phenomenon of plant comes to an end. So yatha prativyam oshadayas sambhavanti. Just as that, this entire manifestation is also a phenomenon. It's a sambhava. It's just a happening. It's a possibility. Sambhavanti. Another Sanskrit translation would be possible. How the plants are made possible. How this possibility comes forth and that possibility goes back. So just as that, this entire creation. And then the third example, yatha purushat keshalomani, yatha sataha purushat. From a person who is alive. So Upanishad is using another extra adjective. It is not just telling a person, a human body or human being. It is telling a live human being, a person who is alive. So out of that person, the hairs and nails grow. Just as that, this entire creation comes forth. You see, there is another swarasyam in the third example. Why this example is chosen by the Rishi? To convey a point that which appears to be inanimate, the hair is inanimate thing in the body. So you cut it also, you don't feel anything. So we usually designate many things as living beings, non-living beings, animate, inanimate in the creation, in the Srishti as we see it. So the hair, nails, stones, all those many things, we put it under the category of non-living things or conscious beings, and things which doesn't seem to have consciousness, or they are not conscious beings. Like we see, understand some plants, animals and human beings. Not like that, we have put it under other category. So the Upanishad is telling, now do not again be confused. Even though, even all these inanimate objects in which you don't think that the consciousness is present, even in all inanimate things are also coming out of the same consciousness. They are not different. It is the expression of the same Brahman, same consciousness. It is not something different. So Upanishad, the Rishi has very intelligently chosen this particular example. Even the inanimate things have their basis in consciousness itself. So the same point is conveyed in other Upanishads as what? Sarvam khalvidam Brahma. Sarvam khalvidam Brahma. All that is here, Sarvam. All that you can think, all that you can see, all that you can touch, all that you can feel, all that you can conceptualize is but Brahma, is but this consciousness itself. No other basis. But you see, this individuality is the trick of the Maya, it's the trick of the Ajnanam. Really speaking, the individuality is never a possibility. Only in Vyavahara, because of Ajnana, we come to think that I am an individual, separate from the total. So this individualization process, but you analyze even from the external aspects, the body is very much made of panchabhutas. Body is very much made up of panchabhutas. The phone or laptop that you are sitting in front of, even they are made of panchabhutas. You analyze the plants, they are also made of panchabhutas. Or you take the chemistry model, the body is made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. So you take analyze the plant, what you get in the lab is same oxygen, hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen. So this individuality itself is a myth. The ego is a myth, but we take it so seriously. That I am an individual is taken so seriously, and that causes all the problems in one's life. So that individuality goes into one's head. So we keep on bumping our heads everywhere. I'm an individual, I'm an individual, I'm an individual. And we keep on bumping our heads to different walls. We do it to different people. So all the time that egoistic approach causes all sorts of problems in our life. But then with this Upanishadic insight, you understand that the basis of everything is in consciousness itself. So what will be the attitudinal expression of this cognitive understanding? That you see everything with love. You see everyone as one. It's one humanity, one earth, one animal kingdom, one plant kingdom, and all of it put together as one. So that oneness, even at the level of Srishti, you can appreciate. So that's why Upanishad has used this three examples to convey these three very, very important tenets of Vedanta. I'll repeat, what is that? Brahman is the material and efficient cause of the universe. There's no other cause except for Brahman. And the effect is non-separate from the cause. The effect is non-separate from the cause. And the effect is a temporary phenomenon. The cause really absolutely has not undergone any modification to be the effect. So elsewhere in the Upanishad, another example to convey this idea more deeply, you all know that example very well. Gold and ornaments. Has gold undergone any change in order to become ornaments? No, gold is gold. Every inch of ornament is but gold itself. And does gold require any other cause, any other material cause in order to become ornaments? You don't need. The gold as appearing to be all the ornaments. Then the third important point through the third example, Sataha Purushat, from a conscious living human being, just as hairs and nails grow, similarly from this conscious Brahman is the base. This conscious Brahman itself is the basis for the entire Srishti. There's nothing called inanimate, really speaking, in the Srishti. Everything has the basis in consciousness. So that is the mantra. Moving further, the eighth mantra. Tapasa chiyate brahma tatonnam abhijayate annat prano manaha satyam lokaha karmasu chamritam. So that's the eighth mantra. So now a few more aspects about the Srishti is being said. You see, very fundamentally, when you look into the Upanishad also, the thinking beings, of course, the Upanishad is for thinking people. So the very fact that you are sitting and listening, that implies that you are all thinking people who are trying to understand, inquire into the world. So for that, for those people, this mantra is being said. And if you see the question, even you might have studied Vedanta for some time, one Upanishad, few chapters of Bhagavad Gita or anything, then even then, there's always a question about the Srishti. Always a question about Srishti, because the science is also inquiring into Srishti. Every few days, a new theory will be coming about how did this happen. Okay, one theory, one Big Bang theory. Then another string theory, another theory, Higgs boson particle, that's the basis. Then probably after some time, maybe they will find another fundamental particle. That's how the science goes. So the inquiry progresses, must progress. That's how it also progresses. Keeps coming, and people may think, oh, okay, maybe this is how Srishti is. This is how Srishti is. Or you are attending some other religious program or something, there some Puranic stories being told, then you may think, okay, this is how the creation must have happened. Then you may study some other religious text, then you may again get a doubt, or you may conclude that, okay, Srishti must have come like this. Or how? How did it happen? How did it happen? Why? How and why also, all the time. Why also is very much there. So we'll come to that why later in the Upanishad. The same why is also discussed. Then now, how is being said. Now you see, the Upanishad wants us to deeply inquire into ourselves. But the mind and senses are always turned outwardly. They are extroverted in nature. That's how they have to be also. Otherwise, how do you transact in the world? That's how they are configured. So all the time, you're trying to inquire, but then the mind goes elsewhere. Okay, finally goes towards the Srishti. Okay, how did this get created? How did this earth come about? How? So now Upanishad wants to put that how to an end. Temporarily, it wants to give you a model and put it aside. Put it aside. So that's what is done in the science also, no, in the school. So what is the basis of this entire world that I'm seeing? One or two elements. So one periodic table, a table is put. So all the elements are found. Okay, whatever you can see and touch and feel is all made up of these elements. They are the fundamentals. So it is put aside for some time. That kid has no questions. But then the inquiry doesn't stop there. An atomic model is introduced after some time. So will they stop there? No. So for some time, it is understood and kept it aside. Some more inquiry, other tools in order to deeply inquire is all being given. So Upanishad also follows the same model of teaching. In fact, these the models of teaching must have been derived from the Upanishad itself, the modern models also. So Upanishad is giving us a model of creation. How did it all come about? So that we settle it. So we settle it for now, because the inquiry is into the basis of the creation. Basis, fundamental basis of the creation. Not at just the level of Namarupas. So for at just the level of the Jagat, Namarupas, how did it all come about? Upanishad is giving a model in the 8th mantra. Tapasa chiyate Brahma. Brahma chiyate. Chiyate means expands. As if that consciousness, which is one without a name, without a form, as if it expanded. See, again, sometimes the Upanishad also, whenever talking about the Srishti, talks from our standpoint. how we see, how we perceive the world, it is just taking us along with our own small understanding as the basis, but finally the purport is to convey some higher truth. So we see if something has to be created, it expands. Mother has to create a baby, so the stomach expands. The plant has to create a fruit, so that same flower seed grows and grows and expands in order to be a fruit, then finally seeds are there. So anything you see in the world is, from our standpoint, from our experience, expands. So Upanishad is also using that same small understanding that we have, that Brahma Chiyate, expands. But what is this expansion now here? Tapasa, by how? How did it expand? Tapasa. Tapa means alochane. Tapa means alochane. Cognitively, in the form of knowledge, it expanded. Not in terms of some material. So, as in terms of knowledge of Namarupas, the Brahman as if expanded. Tataha annam abhijayate. From that Brahman, the annam abhijayate. So annam here has a technical meaning. So we must not take annam as food here. So annam here refers to, in fact, first unmanifest form of Brahman. That nameless, formless consciousness, out of this nameless, formless Sachidananda Atma or Sachidananda Brahma came forth Avyakrita, unmanifest, a principle called unmanifest came forth. So you can take it as Maya, the phenomenon of Maya came out. The phenomenon of Maya comes out. Annam abhijayate. So Annam here means unmanifest, the unmanifest, the Maya. Annat pranaha. From this Maya, pranaha. So again another technical word. The pranaha here means the Hiranyagarbha. So all power, the prana shakti. Again another potential was created, because now the entire Namarupatmaka Jagat has to manifest. For that, a potential state is being evolved or manifested or created. Whatever words we use, understand the subtle meaning what the Rishi is trying to convey. And Annat Pranaha, from that Prana, Manaha. So here it is still at the cosmic level. Manaha means mind, of course. Do not take it as the individual level. We are talking about the Srishti from a Samashti, from a cosmic, at the cosmic level. At that cosmic level, the cosmic mind. So from that prana, the cosmic mind came forth. And from that cosmic mind, Satyam, then evolved Satyam. So here Satyam means 5 elements, Panchabhutas. So that's why we have to take help of Shankaracharya. How do I know? How am I giving these meanings? Am I just giving these meanings however I fancied it in my mind? No. These are the meanings given by Adi Shankaracharya in the Bhashyam. That's why Upanishads are difficult to understand without the Bhashya. Adi Shankaracharya ji comes to our rescue, comes to our help here to understand this Satyam. And from that Panchabhutas, which are given the technical word as Satyam, from that Satyam, Lokaha. All these Lokas. So the Vedic way of looking at the Lokas is 7 upward Lokas: Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Tapaha, Janaha, Satyam. So 7 higher Lokas. So where is this human body situated right now? In the desha of Bhuloka. Then Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Patala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Talatala. So the down lokas are also described. All these lokas, the avenues of experience. So even from modern cosmology, astronomy, it's not very tough to appreciate this. Even the modern science is keeps on talking about different galaxies. In fact, all those concepts, so not very difficult to conceptualize. So Vedic rishis had arrived at this lokas, the concept of lokas, as if galaxies, without any telescopes. Lokaha cha karmasu. So, and from that, karmas are born. Now, at the samashti level, all the karmas are born. And then Amritam. So finally, it is being said Amritam. So here Amritam also has a technical meaning. Amritam doesn't mean the immortal nectar or anything. Here Amritam means the results of action. The results of action, the fruits of action. The Punya and Papa are being called as Amritam in the Upanishad because even at the phenomenal level, they have a long lifespan. So the Punya Papa that you do, one karma, Punya Papa comes. And because of that Punya, something else you gain. And out of that you do another karma, you again get Punya Papa. It perpetuates. It goes on and on and on. So, and its lifespan is very much longer. That's why time-wise it is called as Amritam, as if immortal. It is not immortality. So immortal is the Parabrahma Tattva, the only reality, which is timeless, thus immortal. But Upanishad is somehow, I don't know why rishis chose to confuse us. They have used all these technical words. And if you look at Upanishads or Puranas or anything, that's why it is called as secret. So Guhyam, Rajaguhyam. So it is said as secret because the rishis did not want to simply directly give out the tattva. Rishis wanted our attention to be there. Rishis wanted us to be there in order to inquire. So not like today's world. So people will put YouTube on and they will be doing all other things. They'll be listening to all the Vedanta, Mundakopanishad, Mundakopanishad, and something else. People are munching on something, people are doing something, some various multitasking. No, that's why it's Guhyam. Just to be inquired upon. You miss a word, you're gone. Miss the way of thinking, the way of inquiry said in the Upanishad, it goes away. The Maya is so strong that you may still have a feeling that I know. But the Upanishad, Upanishad from the chapter 1, the first mantra, that's why it's conveying that it is to be gained from the Guru Shishya Parampara. It is to be inquired in the presence of the Guru, in the presence of the Shastra, and one who is teaching the Shastra. Why? Because the inquiry is subtle. So it is not some story. It is not some story which is being said. So even the model, the prakriya is from our own experience that you see the mind which is there somehow may think about something and it as if it expands. From out of that, a lot of namarupas come about. So and then it from one namarupa, another namarupa comes about. So that's how the same model is taken in the Upanishad and inquired into. So we will stop at this mantra for today's session. So winding up, the Upanishad has made very, very much subtle points about the Brahma. What is the Brahma as Karanam? How is that Karanam? How to appreciate the entire Srishti as non-separate from the cause. So we must look at the effect from the same same reverence as the cause, So you look at every dog, every cat, every plant, every leaf, every person with the same reverential attitude that you have towards the reality, towards the God. So, bringing that to the attitudes, the lifestyle, the life, how Upanishad is also very closely linked to our life. This great cognitive science, cognitive knowledge, which very much must be translated into our day-to-day life. This is how we appreciate, we express, we find expression of the great knowledge in our lifestyle and day-to-day life through these attitudes. Yeah, we will end here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om.